What's up, you guys? It's Mark again from the Rooted Progress, and today I am with
Tony
from Bad Luck Overland. So he has that amazing Jeep that you guys saw in the video earlier, and we are here today to hook up the pod lights and the front light bar. So let's get into it.
In this video, we will be walking through how we wired up my LED lights. We are not professionals, but Tony was super helpful to me, so I thought I would share some of the things I learned in this video, in case this information is beneficial to anyone else. This is my first time wiring up my own lights, so please feel free to comment below any other tips and tricks that are not shown in this video, and I will pin it up in the comments below.
Alright, just some quick basics on this. So a vehicle's electrical system is all ran off of 12 volt, and it's direct current, or DC. So I'm going to say DC a lot during this, so just want to get that out of the way. But the basics of a DC system or direct current system is you have a positive and you have a negative, and the current is always going through that entire loop, right?
Yeah.
The easiest way to remember a lot of this stuff, especially with vehicle electrical, just basic stuff like this, is positive and negative, or red and black. So typically on a lot of wiring that you'll find, red is positive, black is negative, right? And if you notice on your battery, see how it's got the same kind of color coding here? That makes things a lot easier to sort of recognize. Plus on a lot of batteries, well, I think every battery to be honest, they all say negative and positive somewhere on the battery near the terminal. This one is underneath here, but it's not that hard to really mess up, to be honest. You really just want to give power to the equipment through whatever wiring or whatever pathway you want to give it from your main source, which is typically the battery, right? But the entire system is all being powered and it's all being charged off of this battery no matter what, right? So sometimes it's easier to just go straight to the source and just power right off of the battery from here, okay? Yeah. Your pods that you have, these side ones, you already told me that you have the fog lights right here, and you kept the harnesses for this, which is awesome, because as you can see, hopefully we can peel these back, still just 2 wires. Now they may not be the same color, but it's still, in principle, it should just be a positive and a negative. So as long as we can connect these in the appropriate way, then you will have power through your factory vehicle harness to these ones. This, for your light bar, it's the same principle, right? One positive, one negative, right? So instead of running all of this together on one switch, you want to have it to where this is on its own switch, and your fog lights just work off of the factory switch. Totally fine. We shouldn't have a problem with doing that, so we'll walk through that. But for the light bar itself, sometimes it is easier to just get a wiring kit like this. So we'll cover what this wiring kit is right now.
All right, guys, so some items that we're going to use for the install today. We got our nightlight, a little wire harness. This one actually comes with a switch as well and a relay, so that's nice. It's a complete all-in-one package, and that's going to be used for our front light bar here. Other things we got this protective wire wrap for that light bar wire harness. We got some backup heat shrink tubing assortment, some watertight heat shrink connector butts, and of course we got the black cable ties.
So this is the interior switch. Oops, right there. It should be backlit too, I believe, so it should actually light up when we're using it. There is a connector here too. Sometimes this makes it easier for going through the firewall, which I'll show you.
That's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine shoving that whole like light switch in there.
This is tough. Yeah, you can't really do that. So that's the interior side of things. And then you have your relay, like we talked about. But the most important thing is we have our power right here. So you can see these already have the ring terminals on them, which is helpful. Same thing, red, black. Positive, negative. Just keep thinking that in your mind, right? And this has a built-in fuse too, a fuse holder, which is nice. We're gonna make sure that this fuse that we're gonna actually put in here is rated for what the amperage output of this light bar is. So that's just another thing we want to do, just to be careful of. And then also the longest part of it is the actual power that goes to the light bar. We can shorten this up if we want. You don't have to use this because you have connectors and everything, and I have connectors as well. We don't necessarily have to do this, but they make them long because you might want to run them up to the top. Most light bars aren't right here. Typically they're up on the top, right? Yep. So yeah, so that's all of them. So we'll go through and we'll wire up one at a time. Hopefully we don't have any problems, but we'll see.
After Tony demonstrated and walked me through wiring up the pod lights on the driver's side, it was time to try it myself. Note that the OEM fog light wiring is not red and black, so we needed to verify flow of current with our multimeter to identify the positive wire. Once we had verified the positive wire and identified the flow of current, the multimeter will read 12 or close to 12 as shown in the picture. If the reading says -12, then the wire that is not touching the red positive lead is the positive wire. Once you figure out which wire is the positive power wire, mark it with red tape and continue by crimping the closest size connector butts to start connecting the wires. If you want a cleaner look and seal, you have to slide on the shrink wrap before adding the connector butts. You can see here I meant to do this, but forgot to add some. Either way, make a good electrical tape wrap and you'll be golden.
Alright guys, so we got the pod lights all wired up and they look freaking amazing. I'm so excited to use them. So now we just got to do the center light bar.
So we found a hole through the firewall. It's pretty rare that you'll find a hole that big, but we were able to find one that's big enough to put this connector through. So what we're going to do is put this through and just leave it hanging out there until we're ready. This thing is already pretty much all connected. We broke one of these off, but we got to check the wiring harness or the actual wiring diagram and make sure that we're hooking up right. As long as everything is good, then we shouldn't have a problem. But we're going to hook this through, and then we're going to basically take the rest of this and just connect it all inside of the engine bay. It's really fast. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. We do have a ton of extra wire too, which is nice, but we should be able to get all the way from there all the way to the battery with this amount of wire. So you can see the battery connectors are down there. We have a good 7 feet, almost 8 feet of wire, so we should be okay. That's why it's nice to just buy these, because we can buy a switch, we can buy a relay, we can buy everything separate and custom make all of the links, but it's a big pain in the butt. So sometimes it's easier to just do this because everything's ready to go. We just got to supply power right here from the battery, feed the power down to the light bar, and then make sure that the switch is all connected, and we should be good to go. So let's try and get that all hooked up right now. Top one right here? Up and to the right of the gas pedal. See it? There it is. Push it. There you go. All right, we're only going to pull a little bit through. How much slack do you have? Tons. Tons? All right, we'll leave it right there, okay? All right. We want to get this thing up out of the way, so we'll probably just put it right here. So, see how these are kind of short? That's
how about like right here?
Still too far from the battery. So look, this is kind of where we're limited to. See what I mean? So we can go
right here.
The issue is that's not very flat. I'm worried that this might hit your hood.
Yeah.
You don't really want water next to electrical either. Yeah. So I mean, we could extend these too. Maybe we'll just do that. So why don't we extend them? Just make it a little more clean. Because I can cut these and make these longer and just put new rings on them. I think I have rings that will fit this.
Okay.
And we'll mount the relay nice enough out of the way. So we'll extend these. We'll have them come down to the battery. This one will go down to the light bar right here. We have a ton of that stuff. And then this one will just go right here. So this keeps it nice and out of the way. I mean, there's other places we can put it, but honestly, like simple right here, we'll put a little self-tapping screw like right there. Keep it off of your bin. This is your bin right here, yeah. So we'll keep it kind of out of the way. I mean, shit, we can even put it like over here.
How about I use this pre-existing bolt right there?
We could probably do that.
That way we don't have to tap.
We can do that.
It's not even holding anything.
But are we close enough for the battery? Nope, still not close enough. So I'll just ram one of these in there. It's quick.
Okay.
It'll be up out of the way. Cool. We'll do that, and then we'll cut these and we'll extend these, and then shit, we're good to go.
Guys, so let me go ahead and show you guys where we found the hole in our Subaru. So over in here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Where is it? It's like, it is way in the back right there. Let me see if I can get my hand. It's right there. So we're threading the wiring through that hole right there. It's actually covered up by this little foamy piece here. So might be hard to see, but not too bad. And then on the inside, it's covered by this right there, and it comes out right here.
If you already see wires routed in that general area, follow the same path, right? The reason why is because if Subaru or whatever manufacturer, if they've agreed that it's okay to run wiring in this area, then you can bet that your wiring will still be okay in that same area. You don't want to go and, let's say we'll take this wire and just throw it onto here, run it under here right next to all the intakes or the header, or I'm sorry, the exhaust manifold or anything like that. It's just going to get overheated and you'll melt wires and you'll have problems. So
good rule of thumb.
Yes, follow where the manufacturer put wiring. If you can't, just remember that this whole thing will run at 212 degrees internally, typically.
Generally, right.
Right, so try to keep it away from the engine as much as you can. And zip ties and all that stuff for your friend. You want to secure the wire so it doesn't move as much as possible, because right now, like, all this stuff is moving. But we're going to tighten it down to where while we're going down the trail, things aren't shaking loose or vibrating, because that's pretty bad for electrical equipment. So
cool.
Maybe we'll put that under that vacuum line too, just because. And we want to go probably out through here, because on this side, yeah, it's kind of away from the radiator. Yeah. This won't reach all the way in here, will it? Yeah, it will, but it's close. So I like it right there because it's up underneath the battery tray. See what I'm saying? And we can use some slack before we decide 100% on the length of this. We'll zip tie it first. Don't cut it and then zip tie it, because you'll be surprised
how much shorter
you may have this much, and then you zip tie it and it goes all the way back here, and then you're screwed. So so let's do that then. So this is your feed that goes to the light bar that we have all the way over here. This is your switch. We're not going to cut this and shorten it because there's no reason to. We'll just bundle it up nice. And then this is your main power. It's going to come out.
That we're going to extend.
Correct. We're actually going to route that in the same kind of path as the other stuff too. Try to keep it as clean as possible. Once everything's kind of where it's supposed to be, and then we want to zip tie with the loom on it, so that way it's all
nice and tight.
There you go. So
okay.
So we're going to extend these because obviously we can't reach the battery with these, right?
So do those first.
So I'm going to extend these. Let me go get some wire, and then this will run down to here, and we'll put some loom on this, zip tie it, and should be done. I mean, honestly, it shouldn't be that bad. Cool. All right, so there's that one. So let's cut off one more piece. So once this is connected to here, and the other guy is connected to this, we zip tie everything up, and we're good to go. All right, let's pull off a little bit more wire. Right here.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, it's not even gonna go around there.
All right, that's fine. It's not ideal to do it this way, but all right.
It won't connect
double
straight.
crimp.
Well, it's just, I'd rather have the less amount of like human connections you can have, the better, because those are failure prone.
Those are failure points.
Yep.
Lining it down.
After the wire extenders had been attached, we placed the wires where we wanted it to run alongside the pre-existing wiring loom. I tried sliding the wire loom wrap over the wires but was not able to advance it past some of the tight areas where we ran the wire through. I had to pull out the wires, then wrap them in the protective covering, and then run it through the area where we wanted it to go.
Alright guys, so we just got the wiring loom and that are going to connect to the power and the negative terminal. So if you open this up, you can see our wiring in there. So that took me quite a bit of time just because it was a little tight right here. So this is much better, and we can finally move on to getting power to the LED light bar, and then we're just gonna have to probably cut this and then connect it all together. So obviously we don't need that much wires, so we're probably gonna have to cut this and then put it together. Got everything in place. We zip tied a couple of the harnesses, zip tied the loom, as you can see right here. Yep, so comes out through here. Got a power, negative, and then we also kind of ran the power source to the wire, so we also stripped some of the rubber off each of the ends so that we can make our connections. So this is going to obviously go into there, but we're going to add some heat shrinkage to that, and that should be all good. Nice connectors all hooked up. The black, I color coded it, so black is negative and blue is positive. Always try to make sure that when you do this wiring that you do kind of like give yourself a color code to differentiate the negative from the positive. That way you don't get lost and accidentally misconnect everything. All right guys, so we got everything wired up. Time to actually turn on the car, and let's hope for the best and just check out how everything looks. Alright guys, that basically sums it up for our video today. Thank you so much for helping me out today and just like teaching me how to wire up my LED light bars and pod lights. So thank you, Tony.
Of course.
If you guys want to hit up Tony or ask him any questions, he does have a solar panel package made for overlanding, so you should definitely check him out. His Instagram is right here. It's Bad Luck Overland, as it says on his Jeep, so it's pretty badass. So if you guys are into Jeeps, or if you guys do a lot of overlanding and or need some solar panels, definitely check him out. He has some good shit. I'm about to go ahead and run some of those solar panels on the Booch wagon once we get everything else sorted with the rooftop tent. So more things to come. Super excited and so happy that we got our LED light bars, pod lights all wired up, and we're good to go. So thank you so much, Tony. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's it, man. I'm glad you learned a lot today. Yeah, contact me if you need any kind of solar for your vehicle. I do a vehicle solar for everybody. Sprinter vans, Jeeps, whatever. I have pre-made kits. I do custom installs, whatever you want. Just hit me up at Bad Luck Overland.